nothing at all. Woohoo, woohoo, nothing at all. Woohoo.
Hey guys, wow, do I have something really cool to show you guys today. This is a brand new GPS drone. By brand new, I mean it's just newly released to the market. This is called the IDEA7 by IDEA. And this is actually a pretty cool little GPS drone that certainly is meant to look like the DJI Spark. Let's go ahead and look at it inside the box. I've had it out before. I don't typically show you guys the unboxings because of the amount of time it takes, but this is packaged so nicely in this foam insert and everything. Of course, I got it kind of slopped back in here. It looked much better than that when it arrived, but just a really nice little GPS drone, though it does have some faults, and I will go over that during this review. Let's go ahead and look at the drone, and we'll look at all these accessories in a moment. As you can see, it's foldable, and it's meant to look like a DJI Spark, but of course the orange, which sort of would probably emulate Altel, which, you know, has the orange on their drones. So go ahead and fold the arms out, and they just snap into place here. They don't necessarily lock. And as you can see, GPS on top. Here's your power button. It does have a 720p camera here on the front. It looks like a rather nice camera too. It's not one of those little pinhole cheapies. And you can you know, swivel it down or up. I leave it up, of course. And you know, the quality of this camera is pretty good. I was really pleased with it. Unfortunately, there is some jello wobble, which, you know, that's not unexpected in these toy drones. But the biggest thing that I have a problem with is why it doesn't have an SD card to record. See, there's no place to stick an SD card in. So you're stuck recording the Wi-Fi FPV feed, which happens to be quite poor. Now the image quality, see, the Wi-Fi FPV is not bad. It's just it drops a ton of frames. Like in a 13-minute flight, I had like 11.5 minutes of a video. It like dropped 1.5 minutes worth of frames. So that's really unfortunate. Maybe you could do a mod to try to get in there and find the antenna and reroute it so that it gets a better quality. But boy, if they would have put an SD card in this thing, it'd be a real winner. I mean, it still is a good drone. It has really good GPS accuracy. I was really surprised, even without a really high GPS satellite count, it landed really well. So we'll test that again here in the flight review. So I was real happy with that. And the app that comes with it, which I'll show you in a moment, is also a very nice app with a lot of telemetry information, because you can do waypoint missions with this. You can do orbit mode, which you can actually do from the controller. I'm not going to probably get a chance to test that in this first video, just because I want to go over some of the basic flights and return to home. But hopefully I can get another video out to show you guys some of those other smart features. Now when it does a return to home, it will fly up. I don't remember the exact height, and then it flies over and begins to lower, and it'll come down probably maybe 6, 7, 8 feet off the ground, and it will just hover for a moment, and then it will go ahead and descend the rest of the way. So I'm not exactly sure why it does that, but I kind of like it because it gives you a chance to make any corrections if it would be off. And I think that may be why they do that. So that's a pretty cool feature that they added into it. And like I said, I like that, because you can make any corrections before it lands. But the GPS accuracy is actually really good on this. I haven't had it be off very much at all for a toy. That's impressive. So, you know, overall, this is a really nice little GPS drone for probably around 80 bucks. But man, if they just had an SD card reader in here, it would be so much better for the recorded video. I'll try to remember to snap some photos, because I imagine photos are going to be pretty decent. Like I said, the camera seems pretty decent on this. Excuse me. Now it comes with, you know, a full set of spare props. It comes with the motor pods on the bottom for the LEDs. Now, well, actually they probably are. I thought they were black, but I think it could. Well, no, these are. I thought it was just the paint showing through, but they are a brighter, you know, than the ones on there. But that's no big deal. And of course, the Phillips screwdriver for opening up repairs or anything like that. The cable to charge with is a kind of a funky cable, and I'll show you why. The battery, let me get it out of the box here, is a 2S 7.4 volt 900 milliamp hour. And like you may have heard me a moment ago when I said it fly, I got about 13 minutes of flight time. Now I was doing a lot of hovering and kind of testing the video out, so that probably extended the flight time a bit more than aggressive flying, because it does have 2 rates, so you can fly it around decently quick, with on the highest rate. But it just uses a USB connector here. You can see it's just a 2S LiPo stuck in this plastic proprietary pack. That's the only other thing I would knock against this drone. I wish you just use a regular battery, but that's so common now, it's hard to even be too critical of that. But this plugs into it here, and then you plug it in the wall, and I think it flashes green, and then it goes, I think it goes solid green whenever it's finished. And it uses this the 2S balance port, and has this 2S balance port to USB connector so that it will plug into this battery. So a little funky, but it works perfectly fine. But like I said, you can't charge it up a good hobby grade charger, unfortunately, unless yours has the ability to charge through the balance port. I also really like this controller. Kind of reminds you of the Spark or Mavic or even the new Evo, with the way it it folds down. Now it does, like the Mavic, it has the controller goes on the bottom here. I'm sorry, your phone goes on the bottom of it, and it fits in here really nicely. Now I'm not going to be able to do it so easily here as I'm talking to you, but it fits really nicely in here, and I like the way it's held in there. This is your 1 key takeoff. You do have to start the props up, then you do 1 key takeoff, 1 key landing, headless mode, and this is your turn to home, like I said, which will fly over and land. The instructions are a little goofy because it almost reads like it'll just hover there, which would be odd, but it actually does return to land. High and low rates, your photo and video, which this will initiate the recording to the app. That is not too common on these, where usually this would be for an SD card version. So I do like that I don't have to actually tap it on the app. And surround mode, this is your orbit mode, which will go around and orbit. I've not had a chance to test it, so that's one of the few things I've not tested this or waypoints yet. So I hope to do that in a future video, like I mentioned a while ago. And so I don't know if it will go around my smartphone GPS, with running the app, or if it just orbits the spot where you mark it. I can't tell you that just yet. And this is a motor kill button here. So overall, like I said, a pretty nice little controller. The sticks are a little wide apart, but that doesn't really bother me. I like it. So overall, good little controller. Let's go ahead and take a look at the app. The app, and one thing I want to mention one more thing. You do have to calibrate, obviously, on this, and I think it tells it in here. And one way with your sticks does your. I want to make sure I don't misinform you guys on the compass calibration and the gyro calibration. Here's the geomagnetism. That's your compass. Your compass is this way, right stick up and right, the left down, and the lights will blink, and then you just do you start to rotate it, and I think the rear lights will flash here, the rear, and then once they go solid, then the front lights start flashing, and then you do it nose down until it stops. Really quick and really simple. Very easy to calibrate the compass, and it doesn't toilet bowl or anything. It works perfect. And then this will do your gyro if you would need to do gyro calibration for setting on a flat level surface in case it would drift or anything on you. You just do upper left and bottom right. So just the opposite pattern as the compass calibration. So we got that taken care of. I want to make sure that we didn't forget to cover that. The app that you're going to use, I'll put up a screenshot of the app from the Play Store. It's a SK GPS. I got this. I don't think it hadn't even said anybody had downloaded it yet. Really nice app. I've not seen this excuse me, this app ever used before. Your turn to home, 1 key takeoff, your headless mode, shows your roll and pitch and yaw degrees, your GPS satellite coordinates, your speed, your altitude, distance, your battery power, your GPS signal, signal to the quadcopter, excuse me, your video and your photo. I mean, it's just got a ton of features. Now I noticed when I was connected to the controller, at least some of these features I couldn't get to work. I had to use the button on the controller. So I don't know if that's just because I was bound to the controller, because even when I turned on the on-screen controls, because you could fly this with just the app, it didn't want to do it. But I think if you're just bound to the app, maybe I would hope those would work. Now you do, like I said, it'll do a manual return to home, but it's also supposed to do a return to home on low voltage, and I did not have luck with that. I flew it down to like 9%. I think at 20% it starts to beep and let you know on the phone here that it's at low voltage. I didn't get it to fly back and land, but it could be I was over, I don't know how well this will show up because I had to lift my head back. I was over here on my tarmac, and I was over here on the edge of my property on the other side of the fence, and it could be I was just too close to the home point that it didn't need to fly over. I don't remember the instructions telling me how far that is. So if I was farther out, it's possible then it would have flown back, because the instruction says it will return to land on low voltage, and it also says it will land on low voltage. It didn't do that. I had to manually land it. So unless it manually lands at 5%, it didn't do that for me. But maybe they can fix, you know, if that is an issue, they can fix that maybe through app updates. So I'm not so sure that would, you know, correlate to the drone itself. So really impressed with this. There is, you know, options in here to draw, you know, in the map, you know, there's, you know, your map and your parameters, your joystick. Make sure that you turn your camera inverse off, otherwise you end up in video that's mirrored, like you're looking in a mirror. That happened to me the first time. You can change some of these, so I tried to change like the height on waypoint, hoping that would change the height on the return to home. I've not messed in here I don't have a very good Wi-Fi signal, but you can do a waypoint missions like I mentioned, and you can do the circle me mode, which I've not really messed with in the app, but I will try to do a future video. I have to kind of go through that again with the instructions and make sure that I know how to do it. So I don't want to tell you guys incorrect information on that, but you do set up the waypoint missions through the app. Obviously, like I said, you can do a surround mode here on the controller, but I want to make sure I have a decent area to do that in, so I don't end up, you know, flying into a house doing the surround mode. But you can adjust the diameter, or the radius I should say, of the circle me mode, or surround mode as they call it. So overall, I like this drone. I mean, it would be perfect if the video quality was better, it didn't drop frames. But you know, on these toys, that's not that unheard of. But boy, they were, you know, some of them are good at it and some aren't. And this one is not very good, as you will see in the flight review. Otherwise, this is really a really good GPS drone for the price. I'm super impressed in the way it flies and the way that it lands. One thing I want to quickly mention, whenever you're going full pitch with it and you let up, and it, you know, it holds its position very well. It doesn't drift around, but it tends to lose some altitude. Now, it's never been an issue for me, but just something to take notice of. You think, oh, wait, is it landing itself? So it seems like the barometer, just, you know, it lets up and it holds its position when it loses altitude, which is a little odd, but it's not like enough altitude that, you know, it's caused any problems. But if you're like just barely above a house or a building, you know, I could see where it could come down and hit it. So make sure you're not really close to the top, you know, to something whenever you're doing that. Otherwise it could come down and bump into it or even land on it. So be cautious of that while you're flying when you let off the forward pitch. All right, guys, well, I think that covers everything. I don't know how long. I think this took 2.5 hours to charge, so I don't think I mentioned that. But like I said, 13-minute flight time was about what I got. Though it may be a little less than that here. We're going to go ahead and take it up for the test flight. So stay tuned, guys, and we'll be right back with that test flight. Okay, guys, I have the IDEA7 out here on my tarmac, so we'll test some return to home accuracy. Show you how it flies around here. Got the controller, and as you can see, there's a phone mounted in it. I'm going to go ahead and do a screen recording. I will record video locally. I'm not even sure how much I'll use because it's going to look identical to what I record with the Mobizen screen recorder, so there should be no difference since you're all recording here locally. You can see it's got 99% battery. Let's go ahead and start recording the screen so you guys can see what I'm actually looking at here, because the video as it's sitting on the ground here is really good for a you know, a toy camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and start recording video. Hopefully that will show up now, and hopefully I got that up on the screen here and you can see, you know, the screen recorder. Now, I already calibrated the compass. Gosh, it took like 10 seconds. It's so easy to calibrate, so no issues. Even, and there's rebar and stuff in this concrete, and it was not bothered by anything. So really easy to calibrate, and so that's always nice. So let's go ahead and do your outward with the sticks and start the props. Let's go ahead and do an auto takeoff. See how it holds position. There's a little light breeze this evening, but very, very light. Not enough that should affect any drone. I'm gonna go ahead and start recording just in case I need to. And you can initiate, I did it on the app, but you can do it on the controller and it will also start it with the app, which is very, very nice. You don't see that too often. So even though I get a decent little left to right breeze, so you can see it tilting, but it's doing a good job of holding position. Let's just take it up a little and we'll fly it around here. Maybe you can, I'll show you how it tends to lose a little altitude when you let off the pitch. Let's see how that does here. I let off the pitch and see it's sinking a little bit. That wasn't too bad. Sometimes it's done it a little bit more. You can see I got the camera tilted as high as it'll go, and sometimes the props, you can see the props in there. But I think the video quality is actually pretty good. I don't know what you guys think. I think it's pretty good from what I saw. But like I said, it's awfully choppy, which happens with all these toy grade stuff at this, you know, price point. But this one's worse than many of the other ones I've seen, which is really unfortunate because this is really a nice flyer. Really, really nice. Let's show you. You see there now it's going to sink down a little bit. There's the yaw, and this I'm in the lowest rate. Let's do full forward pitch. That's not too bad. Let's go up to the highest rate. Now see, it's going to kind of sink down on me. The yaw looks faster, and it's certainly sportier. That actually moves along pretty good. Now a little drone this size with a 2S LiPo, that's pretty good power. Obviously it's just brush motors. This is not brushless, and it has those new, you know, locking props that swing open. But you're gonna obviously be seeing on here that we're, you know, dropping frames. I'm gonna stop recording on the onboard, but we still got the Mobizen going at 54% battery. I've got 7 satellites. I didn't pay too close attention when I took off. I should have. But I don't believe it'll let you take off. But there's a setting in here you set it to that it won't let you take off without GPS accuracy. So I think it needs 5 or 6. It seems to get them pretty quickly though, at least where I'm located here. Let's see if we can get just hover here and get a photo. Include the photo. Take one there. To see how much wobble or anything, you know, you really won't see much wobble obviously unless it's really bad. I've seen wobble in some still photos. You know, it looks like a blurred spot, but it should be pretty good. I'm hoping. I've not looked at photos yet. So that, you know, if the photos are good, then this would obviously be good for that because it holds such nice. I mean, look at that position hold for a little toy, you know, Spark clone like this is with GPS. This really does a good job. I said I really like the camera. I just wish that they would have included an SD card. I don't think it mentions another version on it, but I don't think they have one that does, because it wouldn't have cost them that much more to include it. Seems like an oversight on my part, on their part, I should say, in my opinion. Obviously this doesn't do any 360 flips. This is not meant to be that kind of a drone. This is meant to take video and photos and hold its position nicely. And so let's go ahead now. We tested that. Let's go ahead and I'm going to fly it over here a little ways, and we'll do a return to home here while we still have sufficient battery power. Now, I don't know how long this flight's going to be compared to what I got the other day, because I'm doing a lot more flying and less hovering. Let's go ahead and press the return to home here. And we'll see, it always turns and faces to the home point. Like, it zips over here. Now it's not, and it kind of corrects itself, see that? Now it's not very high. I tried to increase it on the waypoints, it didn't seem to affect it. So ideally, you'd like a higher return to home so it doesn't fly into a house or a tree. So keep that in mind. Like I said, it may be, there's a parameter for it in here, I didn't see it. So it does hover for a while, now it's gonna come down. Let's see the accuracy here. Let's see if it stops again. See, now it stopped again. And I think now it's kind of correcting stuff. I think it's also made let you do some manual corrections. And now it's going to go ahead and continue down. And that's not bad in my opinion. That's about the worst I've had it land, is about what, maybe 4 or 5 feet off the tarmac. That's about the worst I've seen it. It's done it a few times. Other times I've had it land, you know, a foot off the tarmac. So I think for, you know, for a toy, that's pretty darn good. You know, I had way worse, like the JJRC, sorry, the JXD and JJRC both make the tracker, and that drone's return to home was pitiful. So I'll go ahead and we'll record some more on-board footage in case we need to use that, but I don't think we will. And go ahead now and do the auto takeoff. All right, guys, so let's go ahead now. We'll do another takeoff here and unlock the props and do auto takeoff. It doesn't go real high, which I like. You can kind of then gauge if there is any toilet bowl or anything really easily, because it only gets to what, maybe 4 feet off the ground. So hopefully I can look a little more closely at the instructions and for the waypoint missions, and try to make a second video on that, because the instruction manual is not bad, but it's not great. So there's been times where, you know, I'm a little uncertain on it. I got to look at it a little more closely. The English is a little bit confusing, but it's like I said, I've seen way worse. I'm not familiar with IDEA, so they may probably a new brand. But I'd say that if this is a new brand, actually I've never seen it before. This is a new product, you know, like from a brand new company. I think they've done really well. You know, you usually see way more misses on the new product, and this one actually does really well at a lot of stuff. And they just would include an SD card reader for the video, then this would be just about perfect. Maybe include just a standard LiPo and not the proprietary, but again, that's hard to be too critical considering that just about everybody's doing that now. It gives a little more revenue to them because it forces you to buy the battery from, you know, their battery. So I imagine you could crack that open and replace the LiPo in there if you could find the same size. It's just a standard LiPo stuck in there. We're at 50% battery. As you can see, it flies. This flies a long time. Really smooth. I mean, look at that. I'm not even paying attention to the feed. It does look like, I'm gonna land it here. It does look like my, I didn't notice it. You'll see it in the video. The Wi-Fi FPV feed just completely dropped off, and that's probably, you know, that's really not unexpected. I tell you, these Wi-Fi FPV feeds are so flaky at times. So, you know, it's not uncommon for these Wi-Fi apps to do that. The Wi-Fi was still connected, so I did not lose my Wi-Fi connection. That's good. I just simply, the app feed froze, and I got it right back up. It basically just came right back up after I tried to open an app for a second time. So let's go ahead. We got 41% battery. Let's take it up and just do another return to land and wrap this up so this review isn't ridiculously long. And I'll come back with some more smart feature testing, but I got 9 satellites now. That's not bad. It doesn't get a ton of satellites, but it holds position, as you saw, really, really well. So let's go ahead and we'll take it up now. Let's go ahead and unlock the props. So we got the props unlocked, and let's go ahead and do an auto takeoff again. So I'm not going to mess with the onboard recording. We'll just include the MOBAs in here. Like I said, really, I mean, you're seeing the exact same thing, just minus the telemetry information and buttons. A few times there, it seemed like after I landed, I had to take quite a few attempts to get to unlock the props. Again, I didn't notice that last time, but it goes. It may just be you have to give it a little more direct input than I was given it. I don't know. So I'm going to fly it up here. We still have 41% battery. I'm gonna fly it over here and keep it a little higher so we can test. Let's park it up there. And it looks like we lost the Wi-Fi FPV feed again. So as I said, the Wi-Fi FPV on this is not very good. As you can see now, we've lost it completely. So I'm not even going to mess with it now. We did get some footage earlier. Hopefully that gives you an idea that the camera quality is good as long as you can keep a feed, because as far as I can tell, I mean, I still see the app looks like it may be acting a little flaky on me, and I didn't do this the other day, so I don't know what's up with that. Let's go ahead. I'm not going to worry about the app at this point because, you know, we're down towards the end of this review. Let's go ahead and do a return to home. It's going to turn around and face me, and then it's going to zip over here. Back up some, or try to look up so you guys can see it there. I'm going to move over here. Look up. So my previous test flight, I only had problems with the Wi-Fi breaking up a lot. I did not have the app do this, where twice the app is, it actually looks like the app, as you can see, there's no telemetry information moving around. The app is completely frozen on my phone twice. That's kind of odd, because it's not done that in the past. It's coming from pretty high up, so it looks like it's going to be a little bit more off this time than I've had it in the past. But you see, you can correct it. So I'm going to move it over here a little bit. That was a little extreme. Like I've had it 4 or 5 times. It's landed, boof, you know, right here by the tarmac. So turn home accuracy on this is pretty darn good. Now that I've corrected it, that cancels the landing, I think. So I'm going to go ahead and just do an auto landing here. Of course, that was me landing manually there and not doing a complete GPS return to home. But my previous test has been very accurate. A little bit less accurate here, but certainly within the margin of error I would expect for a toy. Of course, you do these reviews like I'm doing, it seems like something always goes wrong, because I had no problems yesterday, but today, actually it was 2 days ago, but today, you know, I had the app froze up on us twice. You know, so I don't know what's up with that, but otherwise we should have at least got some decent footage to give you an idea the camera and the drop frames through the Mobizin, I hope. Alright guys, so that should wrap it up for the IDEA7. There's a purchase link to TomTop where I got this from. If you're interested in picking this up, I think it was like $80, which is a pretty good price. Just be mindful the video is not going to be very good because of the Wi-Fi recording locally to your phone. But you know, I thought the GPS features work really well. So stay tuned. I'll try to come back soon with a video showing you some of the smart features, and hopefully those work as well as the GPS turn to land. So stay tuned for more videos, guys. Be sure to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Press that bell that you're reminded there when I post a new video. And as always, guys, have a really good day.
The power of the dark side.